You know what? I'm not doing an intro.
Fucking intro.
Fucking intro. We're not doing intros. The first thing I want to say is fuck White Sox Dave for not being here because he's been so excited on this. It's half of Dave's personality to be a Sublime fan. It literally is half of Dave's personality.
No kidding.
We have Jakob Nowell here, and this is like a dream interview for us, dude. This is fucking sick. We're so happy you're here. Thank you for being here. We were talking about this beforehand. How you feeling, buddy? Because we've rescheduled this numerous times. Some on our end, some on your end. How you feeling?
Oh, dude, I'm feeling good, man. This is the perfect day for it. It's like been my first like semi day off. You know, when you have like, okay, I only have to use like half the day to do stuff today. So I played a show last night. I was up way too late. It kind of got insane and crazy, but I figured that put me in the right state of mind for.
Perfect, dude. Perfect.
No, I was gonna say that's.
Are you
our brains?
One? I'm gonna twist one.
Twist one, dude.
Twist one up right now, bro. Come on, this is what we're doing. Dude. I'm actually smoking cigarettes. I'm sober these days. I know. But I still go plenty crazy.
Kenny's not. You know what? I do have a box of giant cigars back here. I'll just smoke in my living room. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yo, fuck your kid.
What else is the living room good for?
my 9-month-old son's sitting over here like, please don't do that. Please, for the love of God, don't do that. Oh, man. Dude, obviously, this has been an insane period of time for you. I would say you shocked everybody. I didn't expect this to happen. You've taken over Sublime. You guys are playing Coachella. You're getting out on the road. You just put out a new song. How are you feeling? Like, what has been the reaction to this? Like, is it what you would expect? Did you have any like preconceived notions going into it? Like, where are you at right now?
Oh man, it has been so crazy. Like, honestly, I never thought first off that I'd be doing this.
Yeah.
It always seemed, something I had mixed feelings about, and I never wanted to, overstep my boundaries or come into a position where, it didn't make sense. However, this just happened organically. Like, I've been in and out of obscure bands for the last 10, 11 years, just grinding, trying to make it work. Trying to do it the right way and cut my teeth and not, utilize unfair opportunities or whatever. But when Bud and Eric wanted to do this HR benefit show for HR from Bad Brains, we just had so much fun doing it together. And I think they missed so much of that, kind of messy authenticity of doing it from the past where you didn't know what was going to happen all the time. And it was kind of chaotic and uncertain and fun. And I realized for me, that was the real juice when I brought a team together like that of all these people who used to work together back in the day, who hadn't seen each other in a long time. And I just saw how much fun they had. That's when it really clicked for me. And now, having played a few shows under my belt, seeing the people who show up to these things, man, I mean, I'll be honest, what I had expected was going to be is a lot of like, the older heads, the older fans who maybe grew up with this and, have families of their own. And they are there, don't get me wrong. But for every one of them, it is one-to-one. There's also people of every college kids, teenagers, the kids from the families of those parents who've shown them this music. And to me, that showed so much proof and evidence. And I just like swelled with, like familial pride. Like, I can't believe my father and his best friends, my uncles, they really made this thing that has stuck with people and continues to excite and intrigue listeners to this very day. And to me, that was just like, okay, we're doing this. This feels right.
That's awesome. There's 4 million questions on everything that you say. Gives me a million questions. But one thing I wanted to ask you, speaking of that, was like being in your other bands for all these years, which maybe kind of seems like from the outside, like training camp to get you to this point where like you can front a Coachella fucking band, you know what I mean? And do it beautifully. Cause your guys' set, everybody watched it. I've watched it 9 times, was so fucking good. And like, I saw the small first show that you guys played like on video and I was like, this is fucking great. Then I saw Coachella coming and I was like, let me see how it goes. Fucking fantastic. But I was curious, like being that you didn't want to kind of pull on familial weight for your last bands. Did you ever find that like being the son of your dad was more helpful or hurtful in trying to do your own thing?
Great question, man. Honestly, yeah, it was a double-edged sword for sure. Yeah. I mean, for every, odd venue owner that wanted to give us a shot because he was an old school fan, there was also, harsh criticism and scrutiny from people who, maybe didn't vibe with what I was doing or didn't think I was fit for it. And that's always going to be there. But where I've kind of come to a point nowadays to accept it and live with it and live with the stress and pressure is that, it's always going to be tough for these second son, second daughter types where, let's say, their parents were very successful, whether it's in the field of music, sports, anything really. Let's say your mom is a doctor or something, and it's like, you're going to, medical school. How do you live up to that kind of stuff? I think we're really only limited by our imagination. Really, I truly believe that. You're never going to out moment let's say my position. I'm never going to out moment my father. Like, let's say you had this musician that had this moment in time where they captured this very, elusive, unique thing and shaped music in a way that touched a lot of people. Sure, you can try, but it's almost like you're trying to fit, what is it, a square peg into a circle
round hole.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, it becomes more about the collaborative process, the bringing of people together, creating this big collaborative scene, like with the song we just put out with Stick Figure, that came about in a really organic and cool way, with all the people I'm working with my band, Jacob's Castle, and getting all of my uncles up on stage like that. Those are the things that I can do in a big way, and can continue to do.
And with that, sorry guys, I'm dominating, but with that, like Jacob's Castle is right up my fucking alley. I think it's fucking awesome. Like, I love that shit. Love it a lot. But doing the Sublime stuff, like Jacob's Castle, so I'm sure you've heard people say that you sound a lot like your dad. Now,
totally.
But then I listen to Jacob's Castle and I can hear the difference in there. I can hear what you're doing for yourself in that band. When it comes to Sublime, is there like a balance? What's the balance between like bringing that voice that you found in Jacob's Castle and Law to like comparatively to like giving people the nostalgic that they want? You know what I mean?
Totally get it. Yeah, no. And they both go hand in hand. I think that there's a part of me that's always like, okay, I want to try to get it as close as I possibly can, but then, because I want to please all these people that want it to be original, but then you almost realize that starts to become antithetical to like the design of Sublime in general.
Yeah.
So I was like, I there's going to be parts of me genetically that always sound like him, but I also want to put my little spin on it.
Yeah.
And both inform one and the other,
Yeah.
The stuff I learn with Sublime, I bring back to Jacob's Castle, and the stuff I do in Jacob's Castle, I bring back to Sublime.
Yeah.
So I feel I'm doing my job right. Then the songs still sound like the songs. I'm still singing everything in key, and it's all good. But I'm having fun with it and putting in my energy, and not always worrying about this insane schizophrenic level of like it have to be perfect. Does it have to be perfect? No, man. I would rather everybody up there on stage have a good time, and the people that come to the show, promise they will have a good time. That's what I always try to tell. That's my advertising campaign. If you come out to the show, you're gonna have a good fucking time at the Sublime show. You're gonna have a good fucking time at the Jacob's Castle show. And whether it's Jacob's Castle at a bar or Sublime in a big stage at a festival, after my set, I always come off stage, go right into the audience, and hang out with everybody. Come hang out with us. Come party. The party never stopped. The block party is still happening, and we're keeping it going.
Well, so I got a question that maybe this is a tough question to answer. My dad was a musician. I'm in a band with my brothers, and we've recently, like after 40 years, convinced him to pull out some old 2-inch tape of his and work on a song that he'd written 40 years ago. And in a lot of respects, it's quite an emotional thing to be fortunate enough to work with our dad and to be working on this project. So I wanted to ask you, obviously having lost your dad, how has this project emotionally been working on that? I can only imagine everything that's being brought to the front of your psychology,
Yeah, great question, man. It is a challenge, a very huge emotional challenge constantly, every day, because you can't go without reminder. I haven't had a day off in a long time to just, immerse myself in some hobbies and just try to feel like a normal guy or whatever. And that's not to say it's all doom and gloom. I feel incredibly blessed, incredibly lucky. And I signed up for this. I knew the job I was taking. But at the same time, people will sometimes be like, well, shouldn't you have known all the songs by now? Like, you had 10 years in the music industry to play all this stuff and learn the ropes. It wasn't 10 years of me, morbidly thumbing through the catalog of a decade. That's so dark, every time I go, because I want to treat the job professionally. I'm okay. I got a bunch of new songs to learn for the No Values Festival. We're going to play a bunch of punk songs that I've never heard. And every time I turn them on, it's hard not to get teary-eyed because you're going through this catalog material and you're like, okay, what's the progression? What are the words saying? What's the vocal approach? And then you realize you're like dissecting in a scientific way the emotional, heartfelt work of a man you never met, who's your father. It brings it to your eye. It's crazy. It's very, very difficult. And then getting in the rehearsal room and hanging out with my uncles and trying to start this adult relationship with them, and there's always going to be this worry, like, am I the right guy? Am I doing this the right way? All of these stuff is weighing on you. But again, the antidote to that for me is just the energy of the people who come out to these shows and our whole team behind the scenes and on stage, and seeing how much fun we have when we just do it. Every little mistake or mess up or moment is just that fun punk rock, chaotic vibe. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Bro, is there something you've learned about your dad that you did not know before you went deep into this?
I was just going to ask that. Yeah.
Totally, man. Like, I think, a lot of people lose family members or never get to meet them, or they dip out and leave them nothing but like a fucking jacket or a Pontiac. All I have to remember my old man. But he left behind all this amazing material. So what I do learn kind of tangentially, you get these little breadcrumbs that you get to follow. And it's like, oh, whoa, he threw this little reference in on my computer. What was this? Oh, that's a song lyric from this weird dancehall artist that only he listened to. Like, that's crazy. They must have been talking about it that day. And you start to piece together all this stuff, and then call my mom, or I call one of my uncles or one of their friends. I'm like, what is blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh yeah, we were doing this and this thing. And all of a sudden you get to have this cool little picture that you piece together of what he might've been like. That is also,
it sounds it sounds like you get new stories about him through this new thing.
Totally, man. It's all there, and it's just this cool map that he left behind for me and for everybody who listens. And I think that right there and lies the reason why people are still tuning into it. Because whether you're 50 or 15 and you turn on, a Sublime song or Sublime record, you get to some of those deep cuts and you hear like, what the fuck are these dudes talking about? It's so like esoteric but approachable at the same time. And you're like, these guys really were having a good time in their own unique world, and they brought it to everybody else.
That's what I think. I saw Sublime play in '95 in my tiny little fucking town. And granted, I was 11 at the time, but like Sublime, just the boys always felt like they were one of us.
Yes.
Which is such an important thing. And I think that you bring a lot of that to the stage as well. Like you're saying, little mistakes here and there. Like, I live for mistakes. That's
what Sublime is. It's just honest.
Yes. It's fucking honest. And I love that so much. That's great.
And that's where I think Michaels wanted to bring it back to, and me too, just like making it feel real, like that moment really never left. Like we all still are your boys, you know what I mean? Like we want to hang out and have a good time at the shows. My uncles never got too big for their britches or Hollywooded out or whatever, anything like that. They are almost mind blown still to this point that the music has gotten to where it's gotten to. And for me to be involved in some small way, like, it just means the world, man. Like, I'll never consider myself like the lead singer of Sublime. My dad was and is the only lead singer of Sublime.
Right.
To me, it's just a gig and an opportunity and a chance to hang out with some people that I really care about a lot and care about me a lot.
Yeah.
And for that, I think that the Sublime brand and SoCal music in general has always been a family fucking affair.
Yep.
And it's always been very collaborative, and it's happening, man.
I say one last thing about we recorded a bit of the podcast earlier for our segments on this, and Colin asked a question: who from this generation would you watch a biopic of a movie? Here's my answer, Colin.
Brad?
Jacob. Because
Jacob would be fucking amazing.
The whole story. There's your answer, you fucking asshole.
By the way, that was a very heated conversation we had earlier, because I said there was nobody, and Johnny did not like that answer. Dude, that's actually a really good point. And what really struck me earlier in the conversation, I didn't know it would have been 10 years of fighting and working your way up when you could have easily taken an easier road. For someone like me, who's about 10 years in of toiling and fighting,
right?
First off, Why are you doing this to yourself? Second off, good on you, bro. Fuck you.
Dude, you totally get, literally it's those two things. Why am I doing this to myself? And good on you. That's literally how it feels every day. Like I can't even put it into better fucking words. Like, yeah, man, it's one of those things where it almost had to happen. It's like and it could have happened all those years ago. As soon as I picked up a guitar, we're like, well, you should do this or that, and it just never felt right until right now. And I think it's because, like I said, we're only limited by our own imagination, and I got a very active, wild imagination.
I think there's also a presumption that, like, having had someone in the business, regardless of how big they were, that's like an instant, oh, it just works for you. Like, that's literally not always the case. I mean, obviously there's nepotism, and like we've had dynasties for thousands of years in terms of like ruling the world and that, but like it's not a given. You know what I mean?
It's not, it really isn't, and it's not like people think. You know, I grew up in a crazy, insane household with my mom and my dad, my stepdad, who he's called dad. You know, and we had a crazy family that was just insane. You know, I won't go into it per their request. They're like, stop saying all this crazy shit that happened when you were a kid, Jake. And I'm like, well, it did. And they're like, yeah, but people don't need to know about that. and I told my mom and my dad, I was like, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, because it made me who I was, you know. There was a lot of awesome opportunities I did have. I'm not saying I didn't, but I also did grow up in a way that was very real and unique to me, that shaped who I was. So I think that the opportunities are be a curse unless you turn that curse into a blessing.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want it just to be all about me and exalting myself and trying to be every bit as good as my dad or surpass him in this way or be this, you know, life-changing frontman, singer, songwriter type, whatever. If people fuck with what I'm doing, then that's amazing. And that's a cherry on top. I think what's more important is to do my duty as my dad's son and continue on the legacy of just bringing people together and all the new unknown artists out there that maybe were inspired by Sublime, you know?
I can tell you that, at least for me, and I'll probably speak for millions of people, Sublime is such an important part of our lives. You know, it's an important band. And when I first heard that you were coming out to do this, I felt safety. I felt like I wasn't going to be let down. And I don't want to talk to past iterations, but like, I just felt like I wasn't going to be let down. I was like, thank fucking God, this is going to be great. And I just felt like a weight of relief for a band that was really important to me to come back and have full confidence that it was going to be right.
Dude, thank you so much, man. And that's really what it feels like behind the scenes too. Like, you know, Bud and Eric haven't hung out like this in so long. And they talk about it in their interviews too. Just like, my Uncle Bud's always like, I feel like I got my buddy back again. You know, I feel like I got my bro back. Like, that's so cool to see.
Hell yeah. Dude.
And yeah, man, I feel really honored to be asked to do this and to get to be a part of it. And, you know, it just feels real.
I have to derail a serious conversation for a second, because I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question.
Please.
This has been something that has been kicked around within my band and also with White Sox Dave. I love Bud, but Eric Wilson might be he's the ideal American figure in my eyes. Because if you look at him, he's shirtless playing a bass like that. Here's my question. What does Eric Wilson smell like? That's why I had to ask.
Dimethyltryptamine.
Yes. All right.
He smells like ideas just billowing out like smoke.
Oh my God. He's like my favorite person, because he just stands there.
The shirtless overalls.
Shirtless overalls, wicked bass parts, tattoo, cigarette. Like, he's just the fucking man, dude.
When are we gonna get, or is there ever gonna be a moment for us to see Saw Red with Gwen and you?
Ooh.
Dude, that's what I want to have happen. Yeah, everybody start adding Gwen.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, seriously, start adding her hard, dude. Because that's like, fuck, man. I mean, I grew up on the No Doubt train too, and that would just be so fucking cool, man. It's like we don't get a lot of opportunities when a band replaces a lead singer with just somebody. Mm-hmm. It's so different now that the opportunities are like, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Dude, I would love to do that with Gwen, and I would also love to do Saw Red duets with, let's pick, like, you know, the new up and coming artists that are like the darlings in their local scenes.
Yeah.
Especially in California scenes and stuff. It's like, oh, these people are killing it in their hometown. Well, boom, let's bring them up for a song. You know what I mean? Like, that's always what it was about, is just, you know, boosting up and maximizing the scene of creative alternative people that are mixing together all these different genres. Like, I think that kind of stuff is totally within the cards, and we want to keep collabing with musicians both big and small.
Dude, that's
Dude,
so fun. Yeah.
I mean, now that we're into this conversation, because you brought up Saul Red, and now we'll get into a little bit of nerd conversation, because I know Kenny's a diehard fan. I had a Sublime poster over my bed my entire life.
Yes.
John, I know Johnny's into. What are like going through the discography? Like, what is something like you're dying to get out on stage to do song wise? Because like, there's so many I would pick from.
So I do these with Jacob's Castle a lot, but it hasn't really come up in a Sublime set because, you know, we want everybody to play. But there's a lot of the solo acoustic songs that I think would be cool. What I really want to do is Pool Shark, and then
that was gonna be my pick.
Yeah, no way.
I love it.
Yeah. Pool Shark's my favorite, one of my favorites, and I want to just do like the slow acoustic me solo Pool Shark, but then we end on A. We end on the A chord, and then that starts Saw Red, and then you go right into Saw Red, and then you bring up whoever, right? We go in, girls don't go crazy, yeah.
Dude, I would pay a good amount of money because I listened to that record. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was like the record of your dad playing acoustic in a bar, and it just sounds like shit the whole time.
Yep.
I would pay a lot.
Yeah, those are the ones.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Those are the ones for me because they were just so fucking real. I would pay a lot of money to see Jake Nowell playing those songs at a bar solo too, just as much as I would for the full band.
Come out to a Jacob's Castle show, man. I'll bust out Big Salty Tears and Mary and
God, dude.
Are you on the middle of tour right now at Jacob's Castle?
Yeah, sort of. We actually just sort of played, I think not our very last show for the summer, but our last within like a series of with Jacob's Castle. We just released a record, Enter the Castle, and so we were doing just a bunch of California shows, just maximizing. And we had a really awesome show last night in Venice Beach at the spot called Venice West. We totally packed the place out, and we got a bunch of awesome local musicians who are my homies, who are just doing a bunch of different cool alternative sounds. We have my boy Ethan Salter up there, his band Salter. Go check it out. It's awesome. And my other boy, Noah Weiland. He's actually, his dad was in Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, nice.
And,
Scott Weiland?
Yeah, Scott Weiland's son. Yeah. And I hope I didn't just blow up his spot because I hate people do that to me. No, but I want to shout it out. Yeah, everybody check out Noah Weiland because he's making amazing music too. And it was just like this. We just met in an organic way, and he's been toiling in obscurity as well. He's a little bit younger than me, but he had no help from his dad's team or whatever. All this stuff, he's just trying to do it himself, and he's struggling. Like, he's just like the classic like SoCal dude, you know. Like, he's just such a classic guy, and we just all get stoked on the stuff we're trying to build, and like we're gonna set up all these shows, local events, block parties, like just bringing stuff together. And we got another big one coming up in Long Beach in June 22nd at the spot in Long Beach of this old creepy Masonic temple with all this OG like paintings on the ceilings and stuff. It's just like really cool place. And that's what we want to do, man. Me and my local friends here with Jacob's Castle building stuff up. And so the Sublime name just kind of helps add legitimacy to that. It's just like, look, my dad ask you, and now this is what we're doing right now.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was like, here comes the awkward question of like, your boys are your boys, so I'm sure it's a positive thing. But like, now that you're doing the Sublime stuff, were they ever worried that Jacob's Castle was going to take a backseat? Were they stoked that the Sublime stuff was going to help Jacob's Castle, or were they indifferent because they were just like, you do you, bro?
Yeah, doing stuff like this definitely shows you who your true friends are. And in fact, my manager sometimes says a funny saying. He's like, right as soon as we played Coachella and I got off stage, he looked at me. He's like, all right, no new friends after this.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. No. And he didn't mean like, you know, obviously we'll make a bunch of new friends. You can tell who's real and who's not. But he was just sort of saying like, you can kind of just tell what the vibe is. And no, man, all my local bands that I work with, everyone's just they were equally as stoked before and they're still as stoked afterwards. Because I only like working with people who have their own shit going on, who have their own passion. We're like, you know, I could fall off the map tomorrow and, you know, they'd be bummed, but they wouldn't stop their path, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to see you at the Met Gala. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not like, don't go do that shit. Like,
dude,
unless you do it shirtless.
Yeah, like, dude, see, I would go and do like a Matt Stone and Trey Parker, like make fun of it kind of thing.
Yeah, dude. All right, you can be our inside agent then. You know what I mean?
It'll be me and Eric with our shirts off, just with our stomachs out. Just
So
like,
sick, yeah.
If you could get Eric Wilson shirtless to the Met Gala, that's the GOAT move right there.
Press is good press, man. That's what I always say.
Oh my
he's just
God.
smoking the cigar inside constantly. Like, sir, you have to put that out. He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
whatever, bro.
Dude, I don't want to know the ritual that's needed to get invited to the Met Gala. I think like steer clear, stay stay by the beach and chill. It's not worth it.
That's what I realized after doing this Coachella thing. I mean, I meet lots of good people that live everywhere, including LA, but as far as like the scene and the pomp and the circumstance, I think even the people who live up there are fucking tired. It's jive and it's washed out and played out. I want to bring back a Southern California scene and create something, unique and organic here that is, the soul of it is happening with, the body of it is happening with all of these young, hungry musicians and all these alternative scenes. But the soul is that lineage, bands like Sublime, who still inspire new musicians today to go and do cool, rad shit. And it's just more about, having fun and stripping away all of the fucking cult of personality.
And be their fucking selves, man. That's like
that's all it is, man.
The quintessential Sublime was just like
all we ever
another band that's themselves more than that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's what people key into, man.
Yeah, honesty. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I can't tell you like how fucking lucky I feel to have this conversation because legit, like this is. I don't know how to explain it. It's that band means so much to everybody. And I can't believe the head you have on your shoulders. It's fucking crazy.
Thank you. No, and it's just the beginning too. It's perfect timing for all this, man. It's just these beginning little rumblings. Like, took me forever to start and get to this point and get my head screwed on right to get here. But here I fucking am. And I just want to know who else is down and who wants to come hang out and fucking do dope shit.
Did you ever have a moment where you were like, yeah, maybe I'll just be an accountant? Like, was there ever a moment, even as Brad's son being like, I have to do this. And then you're like, I could sell cars. You know what I mean? Like, was there ever a moment with that?
Yeah, I went to school to be an English teacher.
No way.
I swear to God. Yeah, I was with basically like my high school sweetheart for most of my life, most of my adult life. And then we had a wedding. We never signed the marriage certificate, so it kind of screws up my game now as a single guy. They're like, wait a minute, were you married?
Kind of.
But it was one of those things where that was like the plan. Is like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to school. We're going to get the white picket fence. I'm going to be an English teacher. This is the whole thing. And then we broke up and it all kind of hit me like, all right, I can't do, I mean, you always can, right? You always can have this, like, I could just ignore all this and do whatever. But that wouldn't be being true to myself. Like, there's all these people like, dude, there's so much stress and scrutiny and pressure. Like, you don't have to be doing this, man. You don't have to be doing this. But it's like, if not me, then who else? Like, when is it going to get done? Like, if you don't sweep the fucking floor, it stays dirty. And I just couldn't sit and let all these elements that my father basically sacrificed his life for just sit nascent and fucking dormant, is how I viewed it for so long. I saw, not a bunch of different disparate scenes that were all disconnected. I saw one huge holistic scene that just needed to be brought together. And I'm still in the process of doing that. So instead of the next 10 years being me working as a substitute teacher, trying to get work my way up to tenure position, instead I'm going to work towards a different kind of tenure.
Well, dude, honestly, I hope that you get to enjoy everything that it has to offer because, and I'm talking about the love is what I'm talking about. Cause your dad went early and wasn't really able to see how fucking important he was to everybody. And so I hope you get to enjoy everything that it has to offer.
Dude, he was just getting started, man. He passed when he was 28 and I'm 28 now.
Yeah.
And I realized how young I still feel, how much energy I still have, and how much he probably still wanted to do with his time and his passion.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I'm in a unique, super lucky and blessed position.
Yeah.
To get to continue onward, but do it in the way that I see fit,
Hell yeah, dude.
In a weird way, I think we all feel the same way right now. And the way Kenny said about that, like security and everything like that, like we get to watch it again and it's really fucking good. It's like emotional. I don't know how to put it. It's a really fucking cool thing, man.
Yeah. I will just say that I agree 100% with all of that. I think you should do a fucking crazy troll though. At some point, I don't know what the joke is, but there's so much opportunity for fucking with the fans. Like not in a bad way, but just like there's some, I don't know what the joke is, but I would love to see that.
You are my fucking people. Okay, what I was gonna do is have my next Jacob's Castle record, or like even like a Sublime single. I wanted the cover artwork to just be like a paternity test, and it says negative. Like it turns out, like, all right, he actually wasn't related to anybody at all.
You're just an industry. You're an industry plant that was just put here out of nowhere. That's fucking. Like you're an actor.
You peel the mustache back.
Camera like pulls back, and it's like Simon Cowell standing behind him.
Oh my god! There's the puppet strings, dude. Oh my
that
god!
Was the vibe of Sublime all the way, dude. They'd pull all these pranks and like getting off work tour and stuff like that.
You need to do something for me, just for the Hardo fans that are gonna bitch about everything. You need to just every show get words slightly wrong in one of the songs, just to piss everyone off.
Forget the words.
Oh, I'm way ahead. So April 29th, right?
Yeah.
On the recording, he doesn't say April 29th. He says April 26th. Yeah. But Paul Leary told me that was just the best take they had of him doing that intro. So they just used it. So it's always kind of there. So it's like, which do you say live? Are you going to say 29th, 26th? So I say April 28th, 1990. What I say a different date literally every time.
Good for you, dude. Fucking good for you. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's so good. Oh my God.
People.
Yeah.
Just fuck with people, man. Do it all. Do it for all of us. Do it for all of us.
Yes.
Oh man.
Fucking around for those, dying for the sins of those.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, I wanted to real quick touch on your family's foundation.
It's a baby. Look at the baby.
Say what's up, buddy.
What's up?
He's been screaming the entire time. I don't know if you guys could hear that. He was staring, screaming.
Inspiration right now. It's in the air.
Yeah. No, he's just hungry and he's pissed his mom isn't home. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But I want to touch on your foundation. If you wanted to go over that and just fucking drop that, we're gonna blog this on the website, so we'll just put that all out there too.
No, yeah, that's a big part. Undercutting everything we do, everything I do with this is, there's always going to be lots of fun, and I'm always pro fun. But it is off the back of a tragedy and opioid related death, and the Nowell Family Foundation seeks to raise awareness about the opioid crisis happening in our nation, and we have a treatment facility, a sober living opened up called Bradley's House, where we put on all these big shows and try to raise money so we can offer treatment to musicians that might be struggling and might not have the necessary means, the up and coming musicians who are struggling, the musicians who got screwed out of, record label contracts, who don't have necessary means to get themselves treatment, those types of folks. And I think that's just because, people are sick and tired of losing our loved ones and our beloved musicians to drug overdoses. It's like it might have used to be square back in the day, but no one thinks it's square if you don't want to take a hit of fentanyl. There's no scene where they're probably, you probably shouldn't actually take a hit of this fentanyl right now. And that being said, we're not like an anti-drug advocacy group. Like, I'm very pro drugs. I'm very pro having a good time. I think everybody should, but it's just awareness, have Narcan, test your substances, go crazy and go to the moon and explore yourself and be exactly who you're going to be. But just know that there is, somewhere you can go. There's a solution. And the mere fact that everything we're doing here, the crazy tragedies that happen in our lives and in music can be turned into something good and can lead to, a rallying togetherness of all these people in a weird, dark and morbid way. I don't know if I'd be doing what I'd be doing if my father hadn't died when he died.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's scary to say, but at the same time, I love my life today and I love the opportunity I've been placed into right now. And I'm glad I didn't grow up as some weird little Los Angeles socialite.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's like even the bad stuff makes us who we are today. So
it's exactly right, man. And that's what the foundation is all about, is bringing people together, raising awareness. And it's sort of like that safety blanket, that safety net, so we can still all go out and have some crazy ass fun. But there's always going to be, an opportunity for a better life for anybody.
Hell yeah, brother.
You're the fucking man. Yo, I'm saying this legit. I'm saying this legitimately. We need to have you back on like regularly, just as a co-host. You're fucking fun, dude.
I would love to. It's like I love doing just chatting, podcasting stuff. Like, this is basically, it reminds me of being in the tour van and just fucking chatting.
All of us are touring musicians. That's all we've ever done. Like we're you're us. We're the same.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes. I would absolutely love that, fellas. For real. I love what you guys are doing, and it'd be a ton of fun.
Thanks, brother. We'll make it happen for sure.
Yes.
No, dude, the fucking man. Good luck with everything, brother. We'll see you soon. All right.
Enjoy. Looking forward to it, guys. Thanks so much. Come on out to a show.
Later, man.
We will.
Absolutely.
Gladly. Yes,